previous episode, I sailed from St. Vincent to St. Lucia, where I visited several bays on the western side. Here I sail further north to Martinique and again explore bays on the western side. This was to be the last crossing that required beating upwind. Well, it's Friday the 23rd of May. I'm leaving St. Thomas. This is the very northern tip here. It was a nice, lovely, sunny morning, and now it's gone all cloudy, and I've got a squall. Pretty certain this is going to catch me. Anyway, triple reef main, staysail, full jib, should be good. Maybe able to sail the whole way instead of having to motor sail. Turns out it is cranking out here. Must be blowing 25. Swells are sometimes quite big, so the wind noise will be horrible. I'll voice over. Sailing past the end of St. Lucia, the wind became very strong, so I dropped the main and then furled the jib by half, which was very hard to do given the powering. I usually pulled in the furling line by hand, but now I led it to the primary winch on the windward side, because the winches on the other side were occupied with the jib and the staysail sheets. Alright, approaching Martinique. Wind's still blowing hard over the lowland here, but at least the swells are down. On the right was Sainte-Anne Bay, and ahead was Cul-de-Sac Marin Bay, with a forest of masts, where I would have to find a spot to anchor. Oh well, we'll find a spot somewhere. Well, I'm in Martinique at the Cul-de-Sac de Marin, and I'm at the marina, which is enormous. I have never ever seen so many boats. A massive mooring field here and anchorage behind. And over there, huge anchorage, and I'm in the middle of it somewhere, I don't know where. And then all the way up on the side here. And then behind, beyond that row of trees back there, is St. Anne, and that's a huge anchorage as well. This place is absolutely crazy. Most of the boats in the marina were charter boats with several companies present, including some high-end ones with captained charter boats like the catamaran in the foreground. Estimates put the number of boats in the marina, moored and anchored in this bay, and anchored in St. Anne's Bay at 2,500. Truly amazing. Amongst all of these were lots of derelict boats, like this immediate neighbor, this large blue schooner that I think was a ferro-cement home-built, and many others, including some dismasted. In addition, there were several large liveaboard setups, commonly consisting of several boats rafted together, like these three. Oh, it's the 29th of May, and I've been stuck here in Martinique for almost a week because I picked up a stomach bug. Mostly recovered now, and I've used the time to finally put the equivalent of a UV resistant strip up the leech of the jib in sections, because it's got a curve and it's also hard to do long strips at a time. And the reason for getting going with this is a tear that I had to repair quite significantly there in the leech. Speedy stitcher is coming in very useful. And I'm going to take the advantage to clean the jib a little bit as well, and then get it up. It's been light winds, which has been nice. Oh, this guy takes the cake for the smallest little sailboat I've ever seen. It's got a lee board, tiny little triangular sail on a little yard. It's like a dab check sail. It's very cool. And he's going to go very, very slowly past this derelict big blue schooner. Good for him. Near me was a rather unusual structure that I could not figure out until one day a catamaran was lifted out of the water on it for work. Oh, there's an interesting setup behind me here. It's a floating dry dock. when it's lifted out of the water, keep it stable on the bottom. Just behind this monohull, unfortunately. And right now they've got the engines running, so I suspect they're about to refloat this catamaran they've been working on in it. And meanwhile, here comes the dude on the little sailing boat. He had to tack at that blue derelict boat. Yeah, it's like, hey, he's looking pretty good. Very cool. I have a new neighbor here, a big catamaran. It's so funny to see this guy sailing past it. Hey, he's on his ear. It's impressive. Once I had recovered from my stomach bug, which took a whole week, I motored the short distance to nearby St. Anne's Bay and dinghied into the village of St. Anne's, which was quite interesting, having several portraits of famous people in their main square, including Nelson Mandela on the right. One of the treats of being on a French island was the bakeries, and since I was planning a long walk, I had a good excuse to buy a few items here. In another square, they had many displays of historical events, and I found this map particularly interesting, having now visited 5 of the historical 8 French island territories: French Polynesia and New Caledonia in the Pacific, Mauritius in the Indian, Îles du Salut or French Guiana and here Martinique, and would soon visit Guadeloupe, skipping only Réunion and Madagascar in the Indian Ocean. My walk followed the yellow coastal trail from the red marker to the southern point on this map. This is a trail to a beach called Anse Salines, where they used to gather salt and ship it out. And just like on Christmas Island, there are little red land crabs everywhere. They're not nearly as big though. These guys are going to disagree about who gets to go down this hole. Oh, it's a lovely day for this. Come around the past the resort over there. This is the huge wide open bay anchorage at St. Anne. You can actually see St. Anne, oh maybe just the corner of it there. And then way in the background is the huge bay of Cul-de-sac de Marin. I'm not sure what this is called over here, but I'm going to go up that way this afternoon to Fort de France. And my final beach for a quick swim before I head on back. And even the catamaran that was here is headed out. This rock's called Rocher du Diamant, and I imagine it's because of its chiseled triangular shape. The really cool thing is it's separated from the main island, and hence the seabirds are over it. And indeed, I'm seeing brown black noddies, I'm seeing tropic birds and city terns and frigate birds. Seen any boobies yet, I'm surprised. It's great to see all these birds again. Most of these islands, they've been reduced to these offshore, inaccessible, steep, cliffy islands like this, but at least there's somewhere for them to go. Anyway, I came from way back at the end there. It's been a rolly ride, but nice strong breeze. And no need to bother with the mainsail. Just using the jib. It looks really nice with its new UV strip along the edge there on the leech. And we're headed down here towards Fort de France, but I think I'm going to stop at a little bay before there called Anse Noir. We'll see. I later learned the unusual history of this diamond rock. During the Napoleonic Wars between Britain and France, a British garrison was established on the rock to guard the strait between Martinique and St. Lucia, including 2 large cannons hoisted to the 500-foot high peak. They even designated it as a frigate, HMS Diamond Rock. They persisted with regular resupply for a year from 1804 to 1805 till the French fleet arrived to blockade it, and after a month the British garrison ran out of fresh water, surrendered, and were sent to Barbados. Today it is a nature reserve, primarily for seabirds. Oh, this is, what is it, Friday. Wow, getting to the end of May, 30th of May. This is Grand Anse d'Arlette. Oh, it's a lovely spot. No loud music, just kids playing on the beach. It's marred only by, as always, new developments up on the hillside, tearing the place up. But yeah, otherwise, it's a lovely spot. It's about, I don't know, 50 boats here, which is not much. I'm going to get a sunset soon. I went snorkeling around the corner here. It's probably the best I've had in the Caribbean. It's still nothing compared with the Pacific, but there you go. But look at this house. Wow, what a gorgeous place. I had purchased a couple of barracuda steaks in St. Anne's, having been assured that they would not have the ciguatera toxin that plagues larger specimens of this predator further north in the Caribbean. And here fried one up with plantains, and they were simply delicious. Although I was anchored rather close to the rocky shore, the wind was a consistent easterly trade, so we stayed put all night. Oh, it's Saturday, end of May, 31st. I'm leaving this lovely little bay. Goodness, I really enjoyed it. Grande Anse d'Arlette. Strongly recommended, especially the extreme south corner, right behind me. And over here is where I went snorkeling. It's pretty good. And we're headed north again. Northwest actually, because the island is oriented southeast northwest, and from now on it's pretty much downhill. All the way to Florida, hopefully. Well, as expected, it's turned into a pretty boisterous ride across the bay here at Fort de France, which is the capital of Martinique. Wind is really blowing. Got just the jib. We're doing 6 knots. And, yeah. Yeah, fun stuff. And we're crossing the bay here, headed up to Saint Pierre. No, it's all good. The dinghy is hanging in behind us, which is excellent. Yeah, we should be there in a couple of hours. I passed 2 boats headed south, as most were to get out of the hurricane zone for the summer, that were simply motoring, despite the good breeze. Ah, it looks like we put them to shame. They both have jibs out now. Sailing a little bit. With the stern anchor, we just get out of the way. And suddenly we were doing 7 knots, which is not necessary. So I had to bring the furling line across to the winch on the other side. Got in a few turns on the furler and things are nicely under control, 5 to 6 knots, which is fine. This is Saint Pierre, which has a lower road along the foreshore, then the main town is up on the hill. This town was almost completely destroyed in 1902 when the nearby volcano called Mount Pelee erupted, and they have a museum documenting it all, including this amazing picture of the devastation. The volcano is to the north of the town, and the combination of the explosion on the southwestern flank and subsequent pyroclastic flow, a term first used here by a French geologist who examined the event months later, simply wiped out most buildings, set all the ships in the bay on fire, and killed almost all the residents. Despite claims of up to 28,000 deaths, the museum has only about 7,500 names on this display, and there is a famous story of a prisoner, also known as Ludger Silbaris, who somehow survived in his cell and eventually toured the USA with the Barnum and Bailey Circus. The museum has numerous other artifacts like these, and having been recently built in 2019 was very informative. Around town, many ruins remain untouched, and other gaps between reconstructed houses are gardens or even parking places. Many buildings remain unrenovated, with historical pictures of residents replacing their windows. And along the main street there is this colorful mural. Today Mount Pele is quiet, and my friends on cerebral sabbatical rented a car and drove to the trailhead and hiked to the top in constant rain. But after my illness I was not up for that kind of effort. That night my anchor alarm shows how the reversal of the tidal flow along the shore swung us through 180 degrees, and, awakened by my alarm at 1 a.m., I decided to raise the anchor and head north again. In the next episode, I sailed to Dominica for a few days and then continued to Guadeloupe.